You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Hello. Where have I been? A lot of stuff going on, and we'll leave it at that. End of the summer stuff. We got sorry for all the groceries in the background. That's I guess. Anyway. Yeah. We are, it's Disaster Preparation Month, 2025. We're going to be talking about, as is our custom here, the entire month of September on disaster preparation. That's what we're doing here. And, let me preface this, right? Because this is actually something that we have had to deal with here. A story that was ongoing. We had originally talked about it in January 2024. I think it was January 2024. Time flies, right? So, okay. So, this is basically what it comes down to. Next week is Construction Suicide Awareness Week, and we will be talking about things. So I have to give a presentation of one of the projects I'm involved in for disaster preparation. For suicide, construction suicide. And if I can say this, plenty of help out there. Just access to help. Right? I can't comment on what one is better than the other and this and that because I don't know. There are resources out there if you have any type of situation where you're ideating, meaning thinking about suicide, talking about suicide, anything like that. And we'll talk about that next week also. During the whole week, we have a whole set of programs set up there. Please get help. That's not the way of not the way of handling things. So in December 2023, end of the year, the Morgan family, which was from my city, were killed in a murder-suicide situation. Anyway, the final report came out from the state of New York. Locals did their reports and their investigations. The final report came out. And a couple of, and it hit the news, a couple of news outlets out there had details in it that were not, we'll just say, details in that it should not have been. Real simple. It could have been an easy filler article. Yes, the final report was issued, blah, 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 and then done. Not what they did. They put in some details in there that were inappropriate. So I have a letter into the author to try to update that article on that. And it comes, and it basically, sometimes we overshare as safety professionals, or we want to make a impression upon our audience, make a connection to our audience. So, for example, my grandfather, was involved in an industrial accident. That was the first accident I heard of. Right, he was involved in an accident where he lost 3 fingers. And so when I talk about hand safety, especially in the Bayonne, New Jersey area where he lived, and it used to happen years ago where people actually knew my grandfather, had worked with my grandfather, knew that he had an accident where he lost 3 fingers. However, they didn't know the whole story behind it. So I go through the whole story, and everybody, hey, oh yeah, we have a connection. We know your grandfather. We know your family. We know your grandfather. Blah, blah, blah. We knew him. Great guy. Oh, we didn't know that's what it was. Now we have a connection. And that's an all-important connection that Jay Allen always talks about. So what ends up happening is we overshare sometimes. Because sometimes we had this one guy, Paul, at an engineering firm I used to work at way back in the day, who could not handle the sight or the thought of blood. So when we talked about blood, blood and gore, this guy was running for the bathroom to vomit. Could not handle it. First time I found this out, we were doing a bloodborne pathogens class, and the movie had simulated blood, blah, blah. Just lost it. He had to run out, and it bothers a lot of people when you get into details. So be kind. Don't get into details. Don't overshare, because it is very upsetting. And some of the stuff I saw on there was very upsetting. I read in the article on this family that I knew here, and we'll talk about them more in the very near future. I really don't know how much more to say. You can look back at my January 2024 I'm sorry, or was it 2025? I forget. You can look back at my January 2025 programs on there if you want to check things out. There. No, January 2024. I got to double check that. Time's flying here. I'll do that right now. Hold on. Let's go to commercial break. We're going to talk about disaster response. OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Posel with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy. From the front lines of the safety war, it's Safety Wars, with your host, Jim Posel on Safety FM. Get ready to face the harsh reality.
Okay, yeah, it was December 2023. I was right. The years are running through here. But, we had a lot going on then. My mother had just passed away, and we were getting the house ready. And to get a phone call like that was a nightmare. And then for this news article, to go into detail, it sucked on that. All right, so we're going to do a screen share here of this National Preparedness Month here. And by the way, we're lining up a whole bunch of sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor, drop us a line here. So FEMA's Ready campaign has observed National Preparedness Month since 2004 to encourage Americans to prepare for emergencies. This month is a great time to take small steps. So in the wake of 9/11, the government said, look, we got to prepare for disasters. And they, with that, because it's cheaper to prepare than it is to respond with things. So their theme this year is Preparedness Starts at Home. It focuses back to getting the essentials of preparedness in addition to sharing the tips, messages, and graphics you can find here. This is all off of ready.gov. Of course, we go off of government websites when we can. So what do we have this year or the last couple of years as far as disasters where people have had to have preparedness? And again, we talk about preparedness and you think, 3 to 4 days worth of food, you think PPE, you think, escape-proof, disaster plan, and everything else. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, you want to help prepare for disasters? One thing, help your first responders. Support yourself, your community's first responders. Extremely important, number one. Number two, hold your politicians' feet to the fire. Forgive the pun here, but we just had fires in January and February in LA, right? Government knew about not having enough capacity for years, for generations. Not enough firefighters, not enough EMS, not enough anything. They didn't want to hire anybody because we're saving money. We're never going to need this shit. We're never going to need it. So what do? We don't need it, so we're not going to buy it. We don't need to. Our community has expanded by magnitudes. We're not going to increase the fire fighting capability of the community. Not important. By the way, if something happens, guess what? We're going to take it out on the firefighters and their people. Not on the mayor, not on the fire commissioners, where all but one has any experience in emergency management or anything. Public health. Appointed by the mayor, patronage position. By the way, after the disaster in Katrina under the Bush administration, back in the mid-2000s, Congress passed a law saying that if you have a FEMA administrator, they have to be qualified. It's not a patronage position anymore. We're going to take this seriously. So I had a whole bunch of criteria listed there. Well, maybe the same thing should happen in California. You have qualified people running the show as the commissioners, right? And hold their feet and basically hold them accountable. Right? Fire prevention, capability, not done. Then you go into the whole situation with Katrina, where it's 20 years ago. No, right? And what happened there? Lack of organization, people not taking it seriously, people not having the capability of running it, responding to that. Then you have other situations going on out there. We could go on and on and on and on. So I'm going to tell you this. What can you do? Go down to the fire commissioner or whoever runs your fire show out there in your town. I call it a show because a lot of this is for show. Not on the firefighter end, on the politician end. Do we have a situation here where something like this could happen in our community? Massive fire. Name it. Fire, flood, weather. Are we prepared to handle the weather emergency? Are we prepared to handle the water emergency? What are we prepared for? How can we get to the point of being prepared? Do we have to send our firefighters for training? Do we have to get more equipment? Do we have to change zoning laws? Do we need to do many things? What do we need to do to get there? And then hold them accountable. And this stuff costs money. We just had a situation in Texas where we had daycare camps or sleepaway camps, however you want to call them, washed away. All these people killed. Oh, yeah, we knew about it. We knew we didn't have the problem. But we just, we didn't follow up. And the previous politicians in place, they tried to get the public support, tried to get the funding, and it went nowhere. How about zoning? How about we don't put these places in flood zones? Oh, no, we can't change the thing. We can't do that. We're going to upset somebody. We haven't had a problem before, so now we're not going to have a problem now. Oh, really? How about Uvalde, Texas? All the children with the school shooting out there. Nobody had ICS training, incident command training? Not anyone? We're, right? 2 people, incident command system, none of the emergency responders. Who's in charge? I don't know. We're going to sit around here waiting for someone to make a decision. Again, you got to hold people accountable. And normally, it's not the first responder that's the issue. Do first responders make mistakes? Sure. We talk about human error here all the time. Human and organizational performance. People make errors. Can't do a thing about it. Right? I can't do a thing about it. No. Human error? Why do they make human errors? Because they're human. Not excusing it, but right? How can we minimize those levels, those error rates? How do we fix things? How do we prevent things? How do we set things up so we're more or less, with emergency management, you're never going to be in the skills, Jens Rasmussen skills mode, but there are certain things you could get to reduce error, be better prepared. Support your first responders, firemen, police, or firefighters, police, EMTs, EMS, whatever you want to call them. So, again, right, and it's easier. If you think it's easier, right, it's just like work, right? Just like work. Is it easier for a system to be set up where we could be ready in our community to do things, or is it easier for everybody to be prepared and every family to be prepared? However you want to define that family unit. We have a thing in the safety field called blame the worker. So here's the question here. This information we're giving out here could be used to blame the worker or blame the community. Well, you're not prepared. And then how does that play out? Well, you're not prepared, screw you. That's how what this is. All right, does every family have to be prepared? Yeah. Every community, every company, yeah. The best of their ability, absolutely. However, that's not where this ends. You have to hold the system to be accountable. And by the way, with all the federal cuts here, FEMA has had a lot of cuts. We covered that a couple weeks ago on this show. now it's even more critical that you're prepared, number one. And number two, for the state and local people to be involved versus the federal people. The way that the system is set up, the locals manage disasters, federal governments pay for the disasters, and do very little on the management end unless you're dealing with a huge catastrophe, multi-state issue sort of thing, usually. Huge geographic area. So this is what it, preparedness starts at home. Know your risk. So I'm going to assume that with our preparations, that we're on our own. That's where the assumption is. So what do we need to know? What are our risks? How do you make a family emergency plan, right? Build an emergency supply kit and get involved in your community by taking action to prepare for emergencies. So they even mention it here. So know your risk. Here, let me do a share screen here. Know your risk. Know what can happen to you and where you and your family live. That helps you figure out what you need to do to stay safe. You can explore various disasters and emergencies on ready.gov. Number two, make a family emergency plan. So we did this just now with our children because they went back to school this week. Yeah, New York goes much later. Where we reviewed what some of the emergency procedures were that we follow. Because right now it's compounded. Why? Because now we have no cell phones allowed in schools by state law. So now how do we manage that? What do we do with that? Do you know how to, if you had to, kids, do you know how to walk home from school in that event? Right? Do you know if we have an emergency at home, how do we handle that? How do we manage that? Do you know how to dial 911? Do you know your address? So one of the things that we do is that we still are one of the only families in our community to have a landline phone. That is all part of the emergency response. Why? Cell phones go out. I tell the kids, if you have, and my wife, if there's an emergency, do not go for the cell phone. Go for the house phone. Right? Again, you're adding capacity. What's safety? It's capacity and resilience. You're adding capacity. Number one. Number two, and they have a whole thing, follow 4 easy steps and create a free family emergency plan. Right? Step one, put a plan together by discussing question below with your friends or household to start your emergency plan. And remember, emergency starts with preparing yourself, then your family, then your community. How will I receive emergency alerts and warning? What is my shelter plan? Where is my evacuation route? What is my family or / household communication plan? And do I need to update my emergency preparedness kit? And again, remember, emergency preparedness kit is throughout the year. It's not like, it's September, let's start. No, figure it out. So as you prepare your plan, tailor your plans and slides to specific daily living needs and responsibilities. Discuss your needs and responsibilities on how people in the network can assist each other with communication. Right? And you can look it up here, right? Different ages, responsibilities, locations frequented, dietary needs, medical needs. We have a whole show dedicated to that. Disabilities or access and functional needs, including devices and equipment, languages, cultural and religious considerations, pets or service animals, and households with school-age children. Right, so number one, number two, number three, create a family emergency plan, and then practice. Right, so here we have the family communication plan, a fillable form here. Right, and this was updated in July 2017. Again, the household information here. Social media, that was not on there, right? What you have. The school, the caregiver, all right, and workplace. And in case of emergency, out of town contact. Emergency meeting places, indoor. Where do we meet? Neighborhood, where do we meet? Out of neighborhood, where do we meet? Your policy information, all that stuff good stuff from ready.gov. Know your alerts and warnings. And there are several. You have NOAA alerts, local jurisdiction. This is where we've been we've been promoting, the AM radio act in cars, right? Where they're phasing out AM radio. Well, guess what? We need to keep it in there. It's essential. Right? Make a plan, save for a rainy day, all that stuff, financial, right? Document it and ensure your property. Goes through here with what documentation you're going to need on ready.gov. With that, again, by the way, this form may be the most important form here that they have because it documents everything in here that you're going to need for a FEMA claim. Right? And that's basically it. Now, I don't want to say everything, but most of this stuff, insurance policies stuff, replacement cost, right? All that stuff you're going to need. And of course, keep it. Now we have the cloud. You can keep a lot of that stuff in the cloud if it's not a security issue. And safeguard critical documents, right? So you're talking about vital records like passports, birth certificates, marriage certificates, pet ownership papers. That's an important one. We had a pet sitter over one time, and she had her crap together. I'll say that much. She had her stuff together as far as all the information on the pet, including power of attorney over your pet if you were not present. Medical information, emergency stuff, valuable and priceless personal items, all that's in there. And we'll be going through this stuff all month here. So that's what I wanted to share with you folks here was the right, a lot of this stuff here. We talk about this stuff all the time here for disaster preparedness. What I was shocked at was that I did all these shows in September 2024 and December 2024, Finland. I got a lot of activity from Finland talking about this stuff. So this is what I'm going to tell you to do. Make a plan. Be prepared. And hold people accountable with this stuff. I'm not saying go down there with pitchforks and torches, right? Like in the old Gothic horror movies. What I'm saying about is go to meetings and ask questions. That's what you have to do. Ask questions. And right, and the other thing that people look at me kind of strangely about is when I say, get to know your neighbors, because your neighbors are also your capacity. So I know on my street what I have, what everybody does for a living, basically, or did for a living, because we do have some retirees. So we're able to have capacity in our system there for this stuff, and assess what your needs are. Assess, analyze, and act. That's what I got on there. And that's our opening, and we're going to take a break right now.
You are listening to Safety Wars. Tomorrow's Safety Today.
In a world where danger lurks in every corner, one man stands as a beacon of hope. Jim Posel, a veteran safety expert with over 3 decades of experience, now bringing his knowledge to you with Safety Wars. Engaging, informative, and always relevant. That's Safety Wars. Join the safety revolution with Safety Wars, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts and videos.
In an unpredictable world, one voice rises above the chaos. Meet Jim Posel, a seasoned safety expert who's navigated through some of the most dangerous scenarios, from anthrax, explosive cleanups, disasters, and numerous environmental cleanups, and lived to tell the tale. Now he's bringing his wealth of knowledge, insights, and experiences to you through Safety Wars. From workplace hazards to the hidden dangers in your own home, Jim covers it all with his engaging storytelling. Safety Wars isn't just a podcast, it's your guide to a safer world. Join Jim Posel and become part of the Safety Wars revolution. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts and videos. Safety Wars. Your safety is our mission.
Federal workplace safety inspectors found a Wisconsin animal food producer exposed employees to the risks of explosions, fires, and long-term respiratory illnesses from excessive amounts of airborne dust, among 24 safety and health violations they identified. The findings follow an inspection by OSHA at a Watertown facility in February 2024 after the agency received complaints of unsafe working conditions. OSHA inspectors found the company's poor housekeeping, its failure to evaluate spaces for dust hazards, and an absence of engineering controls to reduce dust created serious combustible and airborne dust hazards. The agency also determined Strauss Feeds did not develop a written respiratory protection program that includes medical evaluations, fit testing, monitoring, and training workers to recognize dust hazards. Unsafe levels of airborne dust can ignite suddenly, causing explosions and fires that jeopardize the safety of workers. Left unchecked, these same dust hazards can cause workers long-term health issues, explained OSHA Area Director Chad Greenwood in Madison, Wisconsin. Companies that manufacture products that create excessive dust particles must use engineering systems and highly effective respiratory protection programs to protect employees from harm. OSHA also noted workers were exposed to hazards from walking and working surfaces, falls, confined space, and the operation of industrial trucks and forklifts when combustible dust hazards were present, increasing the risks of fire and explosion. Inspectors cited Strauss Feeds for 19 serious and 5 other than serious safety and health violations. OSHA has assessed the company $161,332 in proposed penalties. Founded in 1875 as a small, water-powered mill on a farm in North Manchester, Indiana, the company today makes milk replacer for calves and other young animals. For this and similar stories, along with commentary and a deep dive, listen to Safety Wars on your favorite podcast platform and video platform as Safety Wars or Jim Posel.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. So that's what's going on here with the with this. So I'm over here on the FEMA website here, and all right. So what else do we want to talk about? Okay, Department of Labor had several press releases here. Let's see. Here we have. This is from Boynton Beach, Florida, not Boynton Beach, New Jersey. That doesn't exist anymore. The U.S. Department of Labor has cited a Port St. Lucie tree service contractor for allegedly exposing workers to brush fire hazards after an employee suffered fatal injuries while operating a wood chipper. Investigators from OSHA cited a tree service company with a serious violation. To address the violation, the employer will pay $16,550 in penalties and take action. So, unlike now, and this is a little bit annoying here, with the Biden administration, they link to everything here. This new administration doesn't do that. That's my only complaint. So we're going to go on over to the OSHA establishment search. And yes, this is how you do it. You go and you check things out. And here we have, this is 128 here. And here's the investigation summary. At 9:30 a.m. on January 28th, employee number 1 was working as a laborer for a tree service and was performing tree trimming at a client's property. While working near the infield chute, the employer got caught in the equipment and was fatally injured. Some of the keywords. Arm, blunt force trauma, brush clipper, caught in, chest, chipper, chipping, crush, cutting, head, labor, machine guarding, machine operator, pulled in, tree care, and tree pruner, tree trimming, wood chipper. So let's see, we have a clip here, right? And it just brings you back. So here we have a general duty clause violation. The employer did not furnish furnish employment in the place of employment which were free of recognized hazards that were likely to cause death or serious physical harm. In that, employees are exposed to caught in, struck by, and crushed hazards. On or about January 28, 2025, employees operating a Carlton 12-inch drum-style brush chipper were exposed to caught in, struck by, and crushed by hazards. $16,500. All right, and we have another violation here. It was $0. The employer did not develop and maintain a written HAZCOM program for employees while using hazardous chemicals, including but not limited to motor oil and gasoline. So they consider that a lesser type of thing. But we all know, we don't have to say, right? What do most people get hurt? 50,000 people, according to OSHA's numbers. People die from industrial hygiene exposures that are not captured. So for them to say that this is not a serious issue, HAZCOM, we're talking statistical life versus what they do on the Ocean 300 logs. So basically, that's what I got for tonight, and I will get back to you folks tomorrow. We're going to go out with our outro, and I'm going to put on some pre-recorded stuff from OSHA, or FEMA, I should say.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to starting a profitable safety consulting business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.